Hello, 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 everyone. This will be a review of my experience this weekend at the Green Thumb Grow Together conference. Some of you may have seen the video I did on Saturday where I videotaped the main keynote speakers. Make sure you realize that, hi Zach, hi Sid, just so you guys know, that wasn't the only speaker that was there at the conference. There were many more speakers that were there. What I wanted to also let you know is that the conference, it only cost me $5 to go. It included breakfast, lunch, and a few seminars in addition to the keynote speakers. And what I'm going to talk to you guys about are the seminars that I got a chance to attend. There were many more seminars, but unfortunately the day wasn't long enough for me to take all of them. So the seminars that I took, or workshops, one was specifically on rats, the other one was on allergies, and then the last one was on herbal medicine and how to use plants. I strongly encourage, no matter what state you're in, if there is a Green Thumb or a Grow Together conference, I seriously urge you to attend those conferences. You get a ton of information. You get a free t-shirt also, and the food is pretty good, and the information and the networking that you get is just phenomenal. Also, in addition to that, visit your local community garden. Why? Number one, you might be able to get free food. I know that mine does supply it. Well, this year we might not because they're doing construction next door and there's a whole bunch of rats that have invaded our garden, which is one of the main reasons why I took that rat seminar. And then not only you might get some free food or free herbs. It depends on what the garden has, but sometimes they also hold free events there. And also, if you're into real estate, you get an understanding of what type of ground that homes in that particular area are built on, and whether or not you might have foundation problems or what have you. You can get a ton of information by just visiting your local community garden. And you could get even more information if you decide that you want to volunteer. Normally, boxes, they range anywhere from $20 to $35 a year in my area. And if you think about it, $20 and $35 a year just for a box, just to plant whatever it is you want, is a whole lot cheaper than going to the supermarket and buying groceries month after month, if you really think about it. So let's begin and talk about the rat class that I took. Okay, problem. Not only is my garden, the community garden, the rats have taken over, but the whole city, unfortunately, has a rat problem. The task force that's taken over that and handling that with a vengeance now is the health department. So you may want to contact your local health department in your city or area and let them know, like, let's say there's a business, or unfortunately if your neighbor is the cause of harboring rats, you can report them to your local health department. They will issue out $300 to $2,000 fines. Just so that some of you know, in my city there's a new law coming out. It's probably passed already, to be honest, because they're so quick here. If you own a business, you are now required to power wash your sidewalk with not just water but vinegar. I don't remember how often you have to do it, but it is now a requirement in the city I live in. So if you are a business owner somewhere else, you may have to check what requirements they may have. There's also been another requirement in effect now. A lot of restaurants, they used to pour grease into the sewage drains. They're not allowed to do that in my neighborhood anymore. That's now illegal because they found that that was also attracting the rat population. Here's what they have found that will get rid of rats. Keeping the place clean. Rats also don't like pebbles or gravel or anything like that. It bothers them to walk on it. If you see a nest, and their nest is normally in the dirt in the size of a quarter, you can take a shovel and mess that up, flatten it, collapse the nest. In addition, you can also pour gravel and pebbles down there. Now, the last method is really the most effective method. However, it is not legal in every single state, and that is dry ice. Dry ice is very effective in killing mice and rats. It's not federally approved all over, but in New York, you can do it if you hire a licensed exterminator. But in some states, unfortunately, even that is not going to work for you. So check with your state to see if it's legal to use dry ice. Dry ice is a safe method. The reason why they don't let, the health department told me why they will not allow stores to sell it directly to us New Yorkers, is because some people are a little heavy-handed and they may put too much in the hole. And if they put too much in the hole, and let's say where this hole is located, dogs and cats go by, then the dog and the cat might die, or you have to take them to the vet to get treated or something like that. So that's why they want a licensed exterminator to do it as opposed to you doing it yourself. But I think, I'm not sure, but I think in the Midwest, one area, I think it was Chicago, that will let you do it, but it's still the laws on that, they're still working that out, just so that you know. But there are some other states where it's completely illegal. Now, from my own personal experience in doing research on plants, I had bought some euphorbia root. Euphorbia root is a plant that if they eat it, they will explode. Well, I had the unfortunate instance where I had planted it in the backyard and I noticed that they stopped coming, or they just weren't there. But I had some of the seeds inside of my house that I didn't plant. Well, the mouse found the bag that had those seeds, ate them, and they exploded in that bag. And there was a horrible stench in my house for a while, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I was starting to clean up the area, you know, how you do your spring cleaning or whatever. And there was this black bag, and I noticed had a smell to it, and I opened it. I said, oh, my seeds are in there. And then I noticed there was flesh around it. So it's not illegal to plant euphorbia root, but just be careful when using it. And when using it, use it right away. Plant it right away. Don't say, okay, I'm going to plant some and then keep some in the bag and plant it later. Plant it right away. The other plant, now this plant doesn't kill them, but I know that they don't like it. And it's called Imperial Crown Royal. It's like an upside down daffodil. When I had planted that in the front of my house, it kept them away for years. Somebody stole my planters and they came back. So that's how I know that that particular plant works well. It doesn't kill them, it just keeps them away from your house because they just don't like the smell. And then the other reason why I know it works is because squirrels are related to rats. And one year I found out that corn can grow back here. So I started growing corn, but the corn attracted the squirrels. The squirrels, when I had bought some more of the Crown Imperial, I planted them. The squirrels came and dug up those Crown Imperials because apparently they don't like the way they smell either. So just giving you some tips that I learned and that I experienced on my own to share with you guys when it comes to rats. The other thing that they mentioned, the health department said that if you turn over your soil, there's something called a tumbler that you can buy. If you turn it over regularly, like once a week or every 2 weeks or something like that, then the rats will not build nests near your homes. Thank God We pretty much got rid of them. We really don't have a mouse problem anymore. There was another reason why they were coming. I had a neighbor who let her weeds grow. She was, we're both city people. We were first time homeowners at the time, so we didn't really know, but I like playing in the dirt, so that's why I like gardening. She didn't like it, and she would just let it grow. But what happens is that the rats, they like that density of, high weeds, high plants like that. And once she started taking better care of her yard, then there was a drastic improvement. And then I had to talk to another neighbor who wasn't cleaning the grill. See, once you do your barbecue and your grills in the backyard, you have to clean them. You can't just, cover the grill and think everything is going to be okay. They can smell it. Even though the grill is covered, they can smell that food that you just cooked. So when it comes to rats, it's important. Be clean, get rid of food smells, and also as far as the washing of the sidewalks and any other paved area around your home, it's good to do that, because if they smell their own urine or their friend's urine or feces or whatever that the rats leave behind, the pellets, whatever they're called, they know that that's a good place to make their home in. So you want to be careful. You want to just keep your place as clean as possible. Just wash it down regularly. Then the next thing that I learned is this. When I was in the herbal class, healing spaces class, they said that lemongrass and lemon balm, roaches do not like the smell of those plants, and they will stay away if you have them around you. And they recommend like grinding the leaves, grinding everything, and then putting some water, putting it in a spray bottle and spray it around your house, and that will keep the roaches away. So that was a good thing to learn. I also did further research and found out it also gets rid of fleas and ticks. So I guess if you have a pet, spray it on your pet. I guess. I don't have a dog or a cat, even though a lot of cats do seem to like coming over in my area for some reason. That part I haven't figured out why. Another very interesting thing I learned, and this is sort of spiritual, but it's sort of related to real estate in a way. They said if you notice that there is lemon balm growing in an area, that's how you know there's a roach problem, because nature provides the answer for you. They were mentioning that lemon balm and even a lot of other weeds that grow sometimes between the cracks of sidewalks and in your garden is nature's way of answering whatever problem it is that it feels that you're experiencing. And I was like really blown away by that, because I know that in gardening, I had in my own mind how I wanted my garden to be set up and set out. And I noticed birds would come and they would plant seeds and things like that in my garden. I'm like, I don't want you guys, this is my yard. I paid for this. Yeah, kind of weird talking to the birds, but they were trespassing as far as I'm concerned. But I really didn't know that what they were planting was actually herbs or whatever it is, herbs, plants that actually could help me out. And it doesn't just do it for me, but anybody who gardens, that's basically what they're doing. And if you see a lot of lemongrass or lemon balm or whatever in particular neighborhoods just growing wild, that probably... Sorry about that. Oh boy. That probably means, sorry about that. I don't know how the phone just clicked out of its case. But anyway, that probably means that somewhere nearby, one of the buildings is probably roach infested. And so nature reacts by growing plants that can combat that issue. And also, I was told that the same is true for if you have certain allergies. There are certain plants, I think it was mugwort, or I can't remember the exact pronunciation, but that will also help you with allergies, being that this is the spring season that's coming up. If you see that growing wild, or nettle, that's another plant that can help you with the different allergies that you might be experiencing. And they mentioned that allergies are caused a lot of times by us staying home all the time in the winter and not venturing out as much as we should. They said that you should venture out so that when the spring comes, you don't get hit and attacked with so many allergies and you be sneezing all over the place. So they say it's important to go outside. They also mentioned that unfortunately there are certain things that we don't have too much control over. What I noticed particularly in my city is that the trees and the plants and everything are not the same as before, because I know a lot of people who grew up in the city, lived here for many years, didn't have a problem, and then all of a sudden they reach 60 years old and they're sneezing their head off every time spring comes. So they said that that might, part of that is because of them staying in the home all the time. The other problem is that the water that we use, the seeds that we use are, how do you say this? They're not natural. That's why a lot of times they push for us using heirloom seeds as to, quote unquote, going to the store and buying what's there. The seeds in the store are processed. Our water is not even the same, and even our air is slightly different. And all of those factors make it so that our trees, our vegetables, or what have you, it doesn't taste the same. Now, when you grow your own, it's actually better than when you go to the store and you buy a can or you buy a bag of vegetables and fruits, as opposed to growing it. But even if you do grow it, it's still not like what your grandmother and your grandfather was eating back in the day. It's not as healthy. And that is also what may be causing some allergies that some of you experience. What else did we talk about? Oh, yes, there was something else that I thought was very, very, very important. I wish I knew earlier. And that is, there is something growing kind of wild a little bit here, and it's called red clover. What I didn't know is that if you mix, red clover with pau de arco, I'll have to put the information in the comments later on after the video. Pau de arco helps with getting rid of fibroids. And the panel that they had in this particular class were people from Jamaica, Guyana, Peru, and Puerto Rico, Taino, in Indian. And they all agreed, they know various people that used it. I tried to find information about that, to verify that. I haven't. But they said that it is very good for fibroids. They mentioned fennel, and another herb, I'll post that later, is a good natural cough drop. Once you take that, you don't have to really take anything else for the rest of the year to get rid of your coughs. And I thought it was really interesting. They said they'll be careful. Make sure you double check with your doctor to make sure that those herbs, whatever herbalist you go to, whatever they prescribe to you, make sure that it doesn't conflict with anything that your doctor has prescribed with you. Even though there's many cases that prove that in their country that prove that, or countries rather, that prove that this is true. They also mention to be careful with dosage. Everybody's body is not the same. They say plants do talk to you, and if you have to listen. I'm not really into the whole spiritual thing when it comes to plants, but they said that the plant will tell you what it is that, or how much dosage it is that you need to take. Hi, Marcia. So it'll tell you how much dosage you need to take in order to get rid of your problem. I will try to see if I can find out more about this Pau, P-A-U, de Arco, and red clover mix to get rid of the fibroids. That's what they mentioned at the conference. They said that this other plant, the Pau de Arco, also is good for people who have lupus, diabetes, and certain cancer. So that was some of the things that I learned at this conference that I thought was, it was mind-blowing. And they were like, you don't have to have surgery. And I know for me, I've seen where surgeries can cost $11,000. So of course they want you to spend all this money having surgery, as opposed to just paying $10. You can get over the internet for some of these herbs. As a matter of fact, red clover, like I said, in my city is growing like wild. The red clover is what you mix with the Pau de Arco, is growing like wild, and it's good for a couple of other diseases as well. I'll also post the link after the video is finished. And that's free, So definitely, I encourage everybody, the next time if you see a conference about gardening, if you have a community garden in your area, please go and visit it. Visit as many as possible. The community gardens are free, and they can teach you about the plants. The plants that are growing in your neighborhood, in your backyard, are probably according to them, those are the plants that can cure you of whatever illness that you have. One lady, I know this is going to be very controversial. She says that she uses marijuana leaves, makes a tea, and it helps her with her asthma, and she doesn't have to use the asthma pump anymore. So again, go get the information. Also, almost forgot, if you go to a herbalist, make sure they ask you a number of questions, like what you do for a living, what other diseases that are in your family, the same questions that a lot of doctors ask. Herbalists should also ask you the same amount of questions so that they know how much of a dosage of whatever herbal plant you should be taking, and whether or not you should be taking it as a tea, or whether or not you should be taking it as, like I know my mother and my uncle, they often talk about how in Jamaica, our family used to, our grandparents, they used to make them sit in a bath, and the bath would have all kinds of herbs in it, and when you sweat it out once, whatever cold you had or whatever ailment you had, it was gone. So that's something that I wanted to share with you guys. Oh, and also another thing that the Jamaican lady at the conference said, she says that in Jamaica, it was imperative that you have your kids do a washout or a clean out. And I forgot the name of the plant. I had it written down. I'll look it up and post it in the link in the comment section later. But you take that and it would clean you out. And it would clean you. They said it was important to clean out your guts. Now, since I've been here, my mother has never had me do anything like that. So this was the first time I heard of it. My mother was in the class with me, and she says, yes, they did have us do that. And you know what? I think it is important because the trials that I've been going through in my business that I had on the side, a lot of things by the human eye and by reasoning, it was correct. but my guts were telling me, there was a little thing in my gut that was saying, Lily, something is not right. And I ignored my guts. And I'm wondering if maybe I should go back to my roots and learn a little bit more about having this washout, having this clean out. I forgot the name, something about something of life. I can't remember the exact herb that they call it. And then I would be more in tune with nature, more in tune with my guts, and dealing with people better. And I do mention it briefly, actually, in the book that I wrote about how my guts were telling me at various points that something wasn't right. And the name of my book is oh, you can't see it so good, The Perils of Real Estate Scam Alert. Because sometimes people look good on paper, but after you do business with them, you realize that they are not who they say they are. Things don't always work out as planned. Some people, I think even President Obama said, you know, when they were criticizing him as far as how much experience he had, he said, yeah, I don't have experience on scamming people or stealing money from the American people. Some people have experience, and they'll say they'll have experience in real estate, but what they have really is they have experience in stealing money from people who invest in real estate. So I wanted to share that information with you. I wanted to encourage you guys to learn more. We need to get back to our roots. We need to get back to our heritage, learn about our environment, and learn more about taking care of our bodies and our health, and also how the environment to a certain extent can help you as far as investing in real estate. Bye for now. Have a great day.